Get a second set of questions from elementary algebra. Alright, then first we're going to be looking at number 11. Which of the following list the numbers in order from the least to the greatest? So then obviously we realize that two negative numbers has to be the smallest. That will be the case for all of them. Then between these two negative numbers, first one is negative 0.333 continues. Second one here, this one is negative 0.6. Between these two, which one is more negative or which one is less? Obviously it is this one. So this one is the smallest. So I'm looking for something that has negative 3 over 5 as a first value because that's the least. That tells me B and D might be my choices. And then when I move on to the other side, so 3 over 5 is 0.6. But 2/3 is 0.66. Continue. So therefore, you get to realize that 2/3 is greater than 3 over 5, which is choice B would have been the answer. All right, let's move on to the next problem. Number 12. Now, in this case, it's a simple linear equation. So 5t plus 2 equals 6. So then we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. So we get 5t equals 4. Then how do you find out what t is equal to? We're going to divide each side by 5. Then you get to realize that t is equal to 4 over 5, which is choice C. It wasn't that bad. Number 13. Which of the following equations are x equals 5 and x equals negative 5, both solutions? So then, the fact that x equals 5, so that means I'm looking at x minus 5 must be one of my factor. The fact that I have x equals negative 5, that means x plus 5. Notice that the signs has to be the opposite, equal to 0. See, let me just repeat that one more time. The fact that 5 is a root, that means I have x minus 5 as a factor. The fact that I have negative 5, that means I have x plus 5 as my factor. So in this case, what I'm going to do is, when I multiply these two things out, this is x squared, because I multiply these two. Next, 5x. The next one is negative 5x. The last one is negative 25. As you can see, these two cancels away. So we have x squared minus 25, which is choice B becomes the answer. Alrighty, let's move on to number 14. So they want us to combine these three terms, but I realize that denominators are not the same. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 5 on the first two fractions, so that I will have common denominator of 5x. Then first one becomes 5u. Second one becomes plus 25u. Last one is minus u. Then I get 30 minus 1 becomes 29u over 5x. So which is choice C becomes the answer. Alrighty, let's move on to the next problem. Number 15. The solution set. Now in this case, what I'm looking for is x has to be less than equal to 2. That's my solution here. So then, one thing that which we get to realize is one of the easiest thing which we can do is I can plug in a number out of any one of these, and issue satisfied. So one of the easiest number that I can think about would have been equal to 0. So what if I had to plug in 0 in place of x's and see what we end up getting? First one becomes negative 4 is greater than or equal to negative 3. Is that true? No, it's not. So that's why first one is out. Second, is 5 less than or equal to 6? Yes. So it doesn't mean that B is the answer. We're just going to see what happens. When you plug in 0 here, negative 1, is that less than or equal to 5? Yes, it is. So we're going to see what happens with C as well. D is negative 1 greater than or equal to 7? No, it's not. So therefore, A and D are out. I'm looking at B and C. Now, in this case, I'm going to let me try to go for B first. Then I'm going to subtract 5, so then we get 2x is less than or equal to 1, and then when I divide by 2, x has to be less than or equal to 1/2. But this, my original answer is x has to be less than or equal to 2, so therefore b is out as well. That means c must be the answer. Let's try to look at it just to check. 3x, when I add 1 to each side, then we get 3x is less than or equal to 6. And now when I divide each side by 3, then x equals less than or equal to 2. So as we wanted to see, choice C was my answer. All right, let's look at number 15. We have two equations here. How many solutions? Now, in this case, one thing that I want you to realize is this. If I have 0x plus 0y equals 0, if everything cancels away, that means we have infinitely many answers. But if I have 0x plus 0y is equal to some sort of constant that's not equal to 0, then we have no solution, none. All the other cases, you're going to have one solution in linear functions. So I see that I can multiply the bottom one by -2. Then I get original one was 2x plus 6y equals 5. The second equation now becomes -2x minus 6y equals -4. But when I combine them, oh, x's cancel away. Oh, y's cancels away. Nice. But the last number is equal to 1. So no matter what x and y is equal to, when you multiply 0 by 0, their answer will never be equal to 1. So therefore, our solution will be none. We don't have any values that satisfies these two given equations. Alrighty, let's move on to number 17. So they want you to find the factor that is a part of both of them. So first one, this one, which two numbers multiply to -6 but add up to -1? Oh yes, it is x minus 3 and then +2. You see, these two are the numbers that multiply to -6 but add up to -1. How about the second one? Which two numbers multiply to 6 but add up to -5? Oh yes, x minus 3 and x minus 2. But when you look at them, which factor is common in both of them? That's right, x minus 3. So therefore choice A becomes our answer. Alrighty, let's move on to the next question, number 18. So in this case, what we can do is this 2x squared can divide individually here. So I can rewrite this one as 10x to the 6th power over 2x squared plus 8x to the 4th power over 2x squared. You see, when you have one term in the denominator, you can divide individually. So for the first one, 10 and 2 cancels away, becomes 5. X to the 6th power divided by x to the 2nd power, then we need to subtract the exponents, hence becomes x to the 4th. How about the second one? Plus 8 divided by 2 becomes 4, and here we get x squared. So we get 5x to the 4th plus 4x squared, which is choice C becomes the answer. Alrighty, let's look at the next question, number 19. A rectangular yard has area of 96 square feet. So I have a rectangle of some sort, and then area is 96. The width of the yard is 4 feet, so 4 feet less than the length. So if I call this one as length, or let me just call this one as, and then call this one as width. So what I can say is, if I call this one as x, then this one will be what? X minus 4, because 4 feet less. And then the question is, what is the perimeter in feet of the yard, right? Everything was in feet. So first of all, we need to figure out the value of x. But one thing that we know is area is 96, so we can say x times x minus 4, these are the length times width, must be equal to 96. So to solve this, I'm going to multiply. I'm going to distribute x away. So x squared minus 4x. And then when I subtract 96, I get minus 96 equal to 0. So I have a quadratic equation. How am I going to solve this one? I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 96 and then add up to negative 4. Which numbers are possible? 1 and 96, it doesn't work. How about 2? Then 2 and 40, yes, 48 doesn't work. How about 3? 32 doesn't work either. 4, yes, 4 and then 24 doesn't work either. How about 6? Yes, 6 and 16 still doesn't work. Can I go 7, maybe 8? 8 and 12, that's right. This set of the number would be correct. And then if I have positive 8 and negative 12, then this will be satisfied. So we have x plus 8, x, and then minus 12. And what do we end up getting? Here this becomes equal to 0. X equals 12 and x equals negative 8. And you will realize that dimension cannot be negative. So this one is out. X has to be equal to 12. But that is not my answer yet. Because what they're looking for is the perimeter. How would you be able to find the perimeter? Since the length is 12, this one is 8. Then opposite sides must be equal to each other. So this is also 12. This one is 8. So when you add them up, when you add up 12 and 8 becomes 20. Another 20. So perimeter becomes 40 because you're adding all four numbers here. So choice A becomes the answer. Great. Now let's look at number 20. On Monday, it took Helen 3 hours to do a page of science homework exercise. The next day, she did the same number of exercises in 2 hours. If her average rate on Monday was P exercises per hour, what was her average rate in the next day in terms of P? So now, watch this one. Since average on Monday was P exercise per hour, but on Monday, how many hours did she take? It took her 3 hours. So then we know the total number supposed to be average, which is P, times the number of hours, which is 3. So we get 3P is the total number of exercises. But how do you find the average? If it was done in 2 hours, so then we're going to do 3P over 2. That's it. That's what you have to do, which is choice D becomes the answer. So with that one, I'm going to close it for today. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.